A little time to catch your breath after a busy week for the Devils in the NHL draft, adding Nico Hischier and the number one overall pick, and drafting 10 players after him. A pretty big weekend, but now the Devils need to turn their attention to free agency and what they're looking to do there. We'll talk about a couple things here. Number one, I think the defense is going to be the number one key for them to address. It's not a very big or exciting free agent class defensively, but the Devils probably need to do something outside of adding Mirko Mueller, which like they did in the trade before the actual draft, and losing John Merrill in the expansion draft. But do they go the route of trying to sign a player with a big contract like a Kevin Shattenkirk, a Carl Alsner, or do they try and maybe have a stopgap player like they did with Ben Lovejoy a year ago and try to bring in a guy that'll fill a void for a couple of years before maybe they're ready to spend big money? But either way, it's definitely an area that they need to add to and give their guys a little bit of help on that back line, because that's an area that they really struggled in a year ago. Number two, after adding Hischier, how aggressive will they be with going after forwards? They have the money to do it, but maybe they focus on the defense and then try to open a few spots for guys like Joseph Landisi, John Quenneville, Blake Spears, Michael McLeod, guys of those like to maybe make that leap and maybe have a little bit more of an impact in the NHL next year. It'll be interesting to see how aggressive they are, and if they're not, then that'll definitely show that they're ready to maybe give those younger guys a chance to be in the NHL full time. Number three, and probably the last thing, will be how do they handle their own unrestricted free agents. They have three of them in goalie Keith Kincaid, forward Bo Bennett, and forward Jacob Josephson. Bennett, like a year ago, didn't get a qualifying offer. I would expect him to negotiate that and back for the Devils. They like him here, and they will want to bring him back. Kincaid, it'll be interesting. They have Wedgwood waiting too. He'll be back healthy again. Maybe he'll get that backup goalie role. It's just up to the Devils and what Kincaid wants to. And with Josephson, probably a guy that may have seen his last time with the Devils after going into an unrestricted season, and being injured and off the ice and kind of an inconsistent player. We'll see how they handle that. It would depend on what he wants and what the Devils are trying to add around them too. But if you're looking at younger guys that want to maybe give them a spot, Josephson maybe is an expendable guy who may not be there for the long term.